Hey, what's going on, toy heads? Jason here with ToyBot.
All hail ToyBot!
Coming at you today with a look at my first toy show of 2023. So last weekend, I got the opportunity to go up to Everett, Washington, and check out the Washington State toy show that they were holding up there next to the convention center. And I gotta say, it was a lot smaller than I expected, because last year I had gone to the Washington State Toy Show that was down in Puyallup, and it was at the fairgrounds, so quite a bit larger space. But overall, this toy show was pretty cool. Got some great pickups for each one of my collections, at least my current collections that I'm into at the moment. And so that's what I'm going to go over right now, is just kind of show you my haul from that toy show. Let's take a look at what I was able to pick up for my first toy show of 2023. Got the old trusty bag here, and I'm going to try to keep it in the order that I picked things up. But so first thing I picked up was this Minton card DC Comics Superheroes Penguin. Now, you may have noticed this is a figure that I mentioned in a previous video last year when I went to I believe it was the SummerCon. I can't remember if it was SummerCon or it was one of the previous conventions I went to. Anyways, I picked up the Superpowers Riddler. The DC Comics Superheroes Riddler. And I mentioned that Riddler, along with Penguin, were a couple figures that I wanted to pick up as a kid. Had saved up money to go get them, and when I finally got back to the store, both were sold. So it was definitely a must-have. Picked him up for $10, which I feel like is a really great deal. Card has got a little slight bend to it. I'm going to try to put something on that to flatten that out. But that's going to go up in my Superpowers collection. So I was very happy to get my hands on this Penguin figure, after dang near 30 years. So let's see, the next pickup I had, was this Napoleon Bono Frog, which, again, was on one of the figures I've been wanting to get. I had forgotten to actually put him on my list, so when I was looking for figures, I was not looking for him, but as soon as I saw him, and like I said, for the price, it was really great. They had him marked for $15, but the guy ended up selling to me for $10. So, and I didn't even ask for a deal. That was how much he said it was. So, really happy to finally get this Frog Brother, because I have got Genghis. And yeah, all of his accessories too, which is great. So I'm super stoked to get him in the collection. Let's take a look here. Yeah, a couple figures I was on the hunt for, though, were Triceraton, which I did not see a single Triceraton. I was also keeping an eye out for Baxter Stockman, which I did see a couple of them, but a lot of them were missing pieces, like missing the wings or something like that. So I just figured, I'll wait it out. I'll wait until I can get kind of, a complete Baxter. Let's see if I can get him to stand. But like I said, a lot of booths with some vintage TMNT. Saw a lot of Star Wars, and I guess you're just gonna lay down now, bud. Not gonna screw around with that any longer. moving on. Next thing, I was going around with my buddy. I was waiting for him to look at some stuff and happened to check out a pop booth next to him where he was at. And I came across this Moss Man Funko Pop Pez dispenser. This is one I don't have in my collection yet, so I was definitely wanting to get my hands on him. And for $10, I was like, yeah, why not? But when I went to go pay, the guy sold them to me for $5. So yet another awesome deal. I was very, very pleasantly surprised to get that for only $5. So again, just deals upon deals at this toy show, I feel like. So as I'm going around, I'm trying to keep this at $100 limit. Really, is what I'm doing. I took out $100 and I wasn't going to spend any more than that. May have had a couple extra bucks in my pocket, but going around, came across these reaction figures from Super 7. There's a few of them, but the Skeletor I definitely had to have because I've got my Skeletor collection going on. So, like I said, there was a Cobra Con I really kind of was thinking about getting, but when it comes down to it, I don't really have a reaction collection, but I do have a Skeletor collection, and that's why I ultimately decided to pick him up. And that was like a $10 price point, which for an opened Skeletor, I feel like that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. Tempted, like I said, I was tempted to get the Cobra Con. He had some other loose figures. Got the guy's booth as well. But I figured I wanted to pace myself and I wanted to spread out what I was getting because I was trying to get, something, so something for each one of my main collections. So at this point, we've got the DC superheroes figure, which I'm counting as kind of my DC collection. So with my superpowers figures, we've got the TMNT vintage Napoleon Bono Frog. It's going in my turtle collection. And we've got the Pez and the Skeletor figure, which go to my Motu collection, which is my main collection. A couple more things I did pick up. I was pretty much back and forth at one particular booth throughout the toy show because they had these really awesome figures, which I'll get to in a minute. Because like I said, it wasn't until pretty much I left that I made that decision. But pretty much right before that, we did one more round, and I happened to stumble across Cowboy Donnie. And anybody who's watched my videos before knows that the Donnie variants are one of the things I'm collecting in my Ninja Turtles collection. So for $5, can't beat that. I mean, no accessories, but the figure itself and the paint seems to be in really good condition. There's a little bit of like dog hair or something stuck around his neck, so I am going to have to cut that off, clean that out a bit. But really great figure. I was really happy to get this, considering that like at a booth or two over, they had him with some accessories, I think, for like $15. But again, I had already kind of had my mindset on trying to get this other figure. At this other booth, it was a more expensive figure. And so I was like, $15 would really put me down too low. But for $5, I don't need his cowboy accessories. A bunch of my Donnies I don't even have the accessories for. So that wasn't a deal breaker for me. So, yes. So last but not least, we come to this figure from Mythic Legions. Now, get a good look at that. So for those of you that do not know, this is a Mythic Legions figure designed by the Four Horsemen, who were behind the 2000X figures back in the day, as well as the Masters of the Universe Classics figures. So they've gone on since then and started their own company, and some of their figures, they've done a selection of figures that are homage to the Masters of the Universe world. This anthropomorphic Panther being one of them. Now, the past 3 or 4, I want to say, toy shows that I've been to, I've seen this figure, and I've hummed and hawed and thought, it's a really cool figure. I love Cat Warriors. Love me some Panther. So finally, this last time at this last show, like I said, right away I saw him. That was one of the first booths I hit, and I was back and forth to this booth at least 2 or 3 times before I finally went back the final time and asked the gentleman working the booth, the guy who runs that store, if he'd accept $70 for the figure. So he had it marked to 85, and I kind of spent a little bit down, and all I had left in my wallet, I was just like, listen, this is what I got. And now, not even it's going to be, he was like, yep, sold. So I really appreciate him for hooking me up with that deal. You know what? Actually, the name of the shop, the name of his shop escapes me right now, but I'm going to drop his name down here at the bottom of the screen when I edit this video, because I really appreciate that. And the guy is obviously a fan of Masters of the Universe, because he had a big chunk of classics and a bunch of these Mythic Legions figures, and a lot of the focus seemed to be were on the Mythic Legions that were inspired by the Masters of the Universe line. And I got to talking to one of his friends there, and apparently this guy has a huge Masters of the Universe collection at his house, but apparently no videos, because I would love to drop a link to his videos showing his collection here, but unfortunately he's not done so yet. I mentioned to him that I'm sure a lot of people would love to see it. I know a lot of people in the Masters of the Universe groups that I'm a part of online would love to see it. So anyways, this figure, I'm very happy to get this figure. Can't wait to unbox him and get him in my diorama. I may do an unboxing video of this figure. We'll see. But I was so excited to get this figure finally. Now I just need to get to the Battle Cat version, which I'm trying to remember the name of the figure. It's like Cowardor or something. It's something to do with the word coward. But he's a little bit more pricey. Maybe eventually, maybe I'll get him. Maybe I'll see him at the next toy show. Maybe someone else will be nice enough to give me a little bit of a break on the figure. So that pretty much sums up the toy show itself. Now, since the toy show was up in Everett, and my buddy I was with had not yet been to the Funko headquarters, we decided to take a walk. It was just only a few blocks away to the Funko store up there. I wasn't planning on getting anything. We were just pretty much there to check, let him check out the place because he's never been. But by the end of the trip, I did end up finding this Merman Funko Pop. This was a Funko exclusive, so it's a little bit different than the Merman Pop I already have, where on this one, the paint job's a little different, plus he's got a trident instead of the sword. So picked this up for a decent price. I feel like it was like $15 or something, which is, I feel like that's pretty standard. But for exclusive, like I said, I wanted to walk away from the trip with something in hand. So after our little side trek to the Funko headquarters, we decided to grab some lunch at a cool little divey bar up there. Good food, but we weren't quite done with Everett yet, and not quite done with the toy hunt. You see, there is one other store up in Everett that we've both been meaning to go check out. Pretty much, well, I've been meaning to check out since I've been back into collecting, and he's been meaning to check out for a few years. This shop would be Boba up in Everett, Washington, and we finally got a chance to swing by and check it out. Really awesome store. I wasn't sure if I could shoot video footage, so I did take a few pictures, which, as you can see, but really awesome awesome store. Didn't they had vintage, Motu, TMNT, newer figures. I feel like a lot of stuff was fairly priced there because when I was looking, they had some Motu classics, and one of the booths I was at the toy show had some Motu classics as well. Not the same booth where I got the Mythic Legions, but actually the booth where I picked up the Penguin. They had really good prices, I feel like, set on there. And when we went to BobaCon, I feel like the BobaCon's prices were about similar, and I feel like it's a pretty, fair price for those figures. But while we were there, both my buddy and I had been talking about, both been wanting to get the new Dungeons and Dragons figure from NECA. I specifically really wanted the Warduke. He was also after Grimsword, which he actually got Grimsword. They had on the pegs when we found that aisle, they had 2 Wardukes and 1 Grimsword. So perfect, right? So he got one of each, and I got my Warduke. Get a good shot here. So yes, I know this is not Motu, TMNT, or DC figures, but the Warduke figure, the Warduke character, is a character I've loved for a really long time. Back in the day, I used to play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons. Big surprise, I know, right? That I was a D&D geek. But anyways, I always loved the artwork. I'd see pictures of Warduke in particular, handbooks or whatever. You'd see a picture of Warduke. I always thought he looked really cool. And when I heard about this figure coming out, I'm like, you know what? I bet I could kind of fit him in my little Masterverse diorama I got, because he's about the same size, fantasy-looking dude. He's gonna go toe-to-toe with He-Man, and now my Barbarian Superman. So yeah, he's gonna be helping Skeletor out in the diorama for a bit. And even so, like I said, I love a good fantasy figure, and this figure is it. Now, am I gonna get Grimsword? Possibly, if I can find it for a good deal. But again, these were actually a great deal. We ended up getting them for like $35. They had them there. It was funny, though, because when we were walking around the store just checking out other things, we happened to go back by that aisle again and noticed they had actually put some more back on the pegs. So I think I'm on to you, BobaCon. Way to keep those shelves stocked, actually. That's very happy with this pickup there. And that's pretty much all I ended up getting from there. They didn't have any vintage turtles that I was after. Like I said, Triceraton and Baxter Stockman, maybe a Space Usagi. We'll see. But Triceraton's mainly the next vintage TMNT I want to get. Overall, great trip, a lot of fun. Feels like it was a very successful hunt. I got, like I said, some really good pickups for my collections, and I can't wait to get them integrated. Probably do a couple unboxing videos, one for the Warduke and one for the Panther. Everything else is staying on card or is already loose. But yeah, guys, if you get a chance, if you are in Washington State, you're a toy collector, I'd be surprised if you haven't already been to the Washington State Toy Show. But if you have not checked it out yet, I would highly recommend checking it out. The next one, I believe, is in April, back down in Puyallup at the fairgrounds. So, it's not that big of a price to get in. It's like $5 or $10. I think the $10 to get the early bird, which we ended up doing, and I'm really glad we did, because it gave us a chance to kind of walk around one lap before it started getting kind of crowded in there. But yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps up today's video. I appreciate you sticking around to the end and listening to me ramble on about my toy hunt. But it was a very exciting day overall. And if you haven't already done so, feel free to subscribe to my channel by clicking the button below. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you can stay up to date anytime I drop a new video. That being said, until next time, toy heads, all hail ToyBot.
Big boy. Meow.